This is Ag Matters PM from the Iowa Agribusiness Radio Network, your daily recap of the information that affects Iowa's farmers, producers, and consumers right here in the heart of the heartland. With reports from our award-winning team of Dustin Hoffman, Riley Smith, and Mark Magnuson. Now, from the IARN studios in Des Moines, here's Riley Smith.
Welcome into Ag Matters PM on the Iowa Agribusiness Radio Network. I'm Riley Smith. Today is Monday, January 26th of 2026, and we are so glad you can join us for today's show. In today's episode, I'll be talking with Lance Irving of the Sand County Foundation about the Iowa Leopold Conservation Award. We'll also have a check of the closing markets with Cory Bratland of agmarket.net. Let's go ahead and hear more about that award and who exactly it's supposed to recognize. Riley Smith, Iowa Agribusiness Radio Network, on the phone right now with Lance Irving, the Vice President of the Leopold Conservation Award with the Sand County Foundation. And Lance, it's great to talk with you today. Just recently saw that the application window is open for the Iowa Leopold Conservation Award. First off, if you could tell us a little bit about this award, kind of the history behind it, and who it's seeking to honor.
Absolutely. Well, the Leopold Conservation Award has been active in Iowa since 2022, but it's been in other parts of the country since 2003. And essentially what the Leopold Conservation Award does is it recognizes farmers, ranchers, or forest land owners who are voluntarily achieving great conservation success. So it's your farmers and your ranchers who are showcasing that conservation and production can and should have that symbiotic relationship to help not only produce food and fiber, but also environmental benefits.
All right, Lance, I'm just going to let you know right now, we have maintenance coming into our apartment right now, but I'll keep us going. It will be just fine, but sure. Just so you know. So if you hear anything in the background, especially, my dog's barking, we'll let them settle down a little bit. But yep. So let's see. All right, up next. I think next I'll talk about the specifics of the award, so how much it is and all that stuff. So
sure.
I'll get that queued up in 3, 2, 1. So Lance, with that award, what all is included in that? How much is it for those farmers? And I know it's also in partnership with a few other organizations as well to make this possible, right?
Absolutely. It's not something the Sand County Foundation does alone. We do it in Iowa in partnership with the Conservation Districts of Iowa, Practical Farmers of Iowa, and our national sponsor, American Farmland Trust. Along with those partnering organizations, we've got a number of wonderful organizations that help to sponsor and support the award and make it possible. When somebody is selected to be a Leopold Conservation Award recipient, there's a number of things that end up happening in addition to some great publicity. There is a 5 to 7 minute movie made about them and about their conservation practices. They get a handsome crystal award and signage. But the thing that probably grabs the most attention is they also get a check for $10,000. So it does pay to achieve conservation success in Iowa.
And not only does it pay, financially in that way, like we were mentioning, but it's also important for farmers to keep up that work and take care of the land. We know that it's very easy for things to turn south fast when it comes to land conservation and nutrient runoff and all those different things. So encouraging that development as farmers continue to become more sustainable, obviously is a great goal for everyone to want to achieve, right?
Oh, absolutely. And, achieving conservation success is also very closely linked to economic success. As conservation practices are implemented on the land, what we often find is that it also makes the farmer or that rancher more profitable because they're not inputting too many inputs. They're not losing nutrients. They're achieving yield growth without having to put more resources in because their soil is healthier and they've got better water infiltration and all those good things. So it doesn't only make environmental sense, it also makes economic sense.
And Lance, when we look at the application deadline, when is that deadline and how long do farmers have to apply and where can they apply?
Sure. We will be accepting nominations from now until July 1st, and you can find the nomination materials at sandscountyfoundation.org, and you'll follow a pretty easy path there to the Iowa nomination. Or if you happen to know somebody in another state, you can get the other state's nomination there. But we'll be collecting those nominations until July 1st, and you can either nominate yourself, you can nominate a family member, a neighbor, or a friend, or just somebody that you know is doing a fantastic job. So if you know of a great Iowa land steward, we would encourage you to nominate them or encourage them to apply for this award.
All right, Lance, thank you so much for the time today, and we hope you get plenty of applications and nominations this year.
Well, thanks so much for taking the time. It's always great and an important thing to recognize those landowners among us that are quietly achieving great things and making our communities not only healthy but also beautiful.
Thanks again to Lance Irving of the Sand County Foundation for joining us to discuss the Iowa Leopold Conservation Award. We'll go ahead and take a look now at the closing markets, and I'm visiting with Cory Bratland of agmarket.net. Cory, what do we see going on in the grain markets today?
Hey, Riley, good to be here again. Grain markets started out this morning, real early this morning in the overnight trade, up a little higher. I think that was just a little carryover from the strong market we had on Friday off of those impressive export sales, especially we saw on the corn. Then as the day kind of, as we got closer to 8:30 and as the day started trading, we got a little weaker. Wheat kind of give up their gains there from Friday. Going to end up down 1 to 2 on corn. Beans around about 6-7 lower. And the wheat market give back about 11.5 cents of what they gained there on Friday.
So as we look at tomorrow, we will have President Trump here in Clive, Iowa, to discuss some energy planning. Is there any chance that any of those announcements, especially if he says something about E15, could impact the markets?
Yeah, definitely. I think, last week, the E15 kind of got center stage again. They kind of, kicked the can down the road per se. They said they're going to put it to a committee. But yes, President Trump coming to Iowa, it does create a little optimism that maybe we do get some announcement over the 45Z program, and or do we hear something more about the year-round E15? So yeah, that's definitely going to be some headlines that we're going to be anxious to watch to see what kind of context or dialogue that he has there while he's in Iowa.
Then over on the livestock side of things, how did cattle and hogs do today?
Cattle were stronger again. We had cattle and feed report, not too pretty quiet report for the most part. Placements were just a touch higher than what the trade is expected, but year over year, we are still got less animals on feed. So live cattle had a nice strong uptick in cash last Friday that carried over here today, about $1.20 higher, pretty much across the board. Feeder cattle up, 2 to 2.5, kind of depending on which contract you're in. So again, demand is still very strong there. Lean hogs, other than the front month February contract, they were down. Everything else is up about 50-60 cents. So we're starting to hear some higher trade, cash trade, and then kind of looking for just some production numbers to kind of slow up here. So we are seeing the funds kind of step in and buy these lean hogs here. So kind of helping the market here as U.S. demand and export demand for both beef and pork are very strong right now and continuing to stay that way.
All right, Cory, lots of great information today. For anyone who would like to stay in touch with agmarket.net for more marketing information, how can they do that?
Yeah, easiest, Riley, just head on over to our website, which is www.agmarket.net, and you can get a hold of us there.
All right, thanks again for the time as always, Cory, and we'll talk again soon.
You bet. Thank you.
That again was Cory Bratland of agmarket.net. We'll take a look at how the numbers close through the market window at iowaagnet.com. At the close, March corn down 2 1/4 at 4.28 1/4. March soybeans down 6 even at 10.61 3/4. March soybean meal down 5.60 at 2.94.30. March soybean oil down 10 cents at 53.89. Chicago wheat down 7 even at 5.22 1/2. Kansas City hard red winter wheat down 11 even at 5.29 3/4. Minneapolis spring wheat down 5 1/4 at 5.69 3/4. March oats up 2 even at 2.99 1/4. On the Merc, February live cattle up $1.12 at 236.02. March feeders up $2.42 at 362.60. February lean hogs down 5 cents at 88.30. February pork cutout up 40 at 97.82. And February class 3 milk up 75 at 16.03. That's been a check in the markets here on Ag Matters PM. That also brings us to the end of today's show. You can find all of our daily ag news content on our website at iowaagnet.com. From the Iowa Agribusiness Radio Network studios in Des Moines, I'm Riley Smith. On behalf of Mark Magnuson and Dustin Huffman, we thank you for watching. This has been Ag Matters.